Welcome back to the Pond Hockey Eagles post-game show. The crew is live at the Battleship, New Jersey, right here in Camden. We're on the sunny deck of the Battleship, New Jersey. Just a couple facts about the Battleship here. The USS New Jersey was commissioned in the Navy May 23rd, 1943. This ship served in World War II, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, the Beirut Crisis, and the Persian Gulf War. Degon, how many sailors do you think served aboard the USS New Jersey throughout her career?
25,000.
How about 55,000 sailors?
Wow.
All right?
That's what you asked me. That was my guess.
You had 50, you're right.
55,000?
Go here lying, man. Stop.
And, yeah, the latrine is right over there. So, the mess, where's the mess? I don't know where it is. We're kind of a mess right now. In this hot sun. But let's bring in Kayla Santiago for our diamond debate for today. Kayla, you wearing bling in this hot sun? Is the hot sun shining off your bling?
It is, and I think the sun is just making it that much better. And then people that love pearls, these are definitely for you right now. Absolutely love these things from Mark Diamond Jewelers. You got the ring with the pearl as well. You got the pearl necklace and the earrings to put it out. Shining almost as bright as Jake Elliott did today for the Philadelphia Eagles. But before we get to that, the big game winner, I want to focus on this Eagles defense. We already know that they're young in the secondary, but some mistakes here today, giving up 31 against the Commanders. Is that on Sean Desai? Is that on the personnel? Seth, I'm going to start with you and your defensive mind. Where do you see it going wrong, and do you think it's going to be issues down the line?
Well, I think at times Sean calls his defenses, to protect the young guys. But when you start seeing, the bigger guys, the older guys, I should say, the more seasoned veterans like Bradbury and Slay getting beat and called for PIs, that's somewhat concerning for me because we expect for those guys, to be the mainstay. Josh Jobe, absolutely, he gave up, the tying touchdown. But I thought he played pretty darn good all day long. He didn't get a PI. He didn't get a holding call. Those calls went against, the veterans, on the defense. So I think it's a combination of things, that you're looking at because Sean Desai is trying to bring pressure. He's trying to be aggressive. But I don't know whether the defensive backs have the option to line up and bump or to play off or, that's just the way that they're coached to play is off in blitz situations like that. But I know for a fact you're not going to survive in the National Football League when quarterbacks can get a pre-snap read of blitz or pressure coming and you playing 10 yards off the ball. That's an easy pitch and catch. And the veteran quarterbacks that we're going to play down the road, they will eat that like good birthday cake.
And Darius Slay has been moved along with James Bradbury. We saw Slay go down for a moment in that game. We were all talking about possibly a concussion. He comes back the very next play. But, Degon, I'm going to go to you right now. You see those two guys getting penalties in this game. Does that worry you at all as the weeks go on? It's against the Commanders here today. You're going to face a lot tougher offenses as the year goes.
Absolutely. They're veterans. They're both over 30 years of age, and they know how to cheat. Maybe what they've lost in a step or two, they know how to cheat. But you know what? You also get yourself in situations you shouldn't be. And the better offensive coordinators in this league are going to sit here and analyze exactly what Washington did against these guys. When you talk about the Patrick Mahomes, the Josh Allens, and even Tua and those guys, they're going to sit down and thoroughly analyze where we can attack these corners, these Pro Bowl corners, and exactly and down a distance how we should attack them. If Sean Desai and Matt Patricia are going to continue to have these guys playing 7 to 10 yards off the ball, it's easy pitch and catch, as Seth was talking about. It's easy pitch and catch for the better offenses up and down the National Football League. And then when the offenses catch them trying to cheat up because they have those definitive speedsters on the outside, that's when you're going to take them over the top. You've got to do a better job of mixing. You cannot be as predictable as they've been in terms of how they're going to play some of these wide receivers. And let's face it, when you look at the first 4 games that they've played, they have not played the better wide receivers in the game, yet they keep playing the same type of scheme. It has worked for them up to this point. It is not going to work for them as they continue down this road.
What's the difference you want to see in the scheme as the year goes on, week after week? What do you think would work for them? And if you were talking to Sean Desai, what are you telling him to do?
I want to see these corners play more bump and run. I don't want to see them giving us cushion. The good receivers that go 5 yards, plant their foot in the ground, they're going to win the slants every time. Why do you think A.J. Brown is so successful on those slant routes? Because a lot of opposition corners give him that much respect playing 7-10 yards off the ball. He's killing them every time. And the Eagles secondary is doing the same thing. The better quarterbacks, the better offensive coordinators are going to hone in on that and make the Eagles pay in big games.
I think according to down and distance, you've got to adjust how you play when you got man coverage, in my opinion. You can't play the same way all the time, because once you become predictable, now the quarterback and the offensive coordinators, they got to beat on how you're going to play. And if they think you're going to play a certain way all the time, they expect for you to be in that same posture. There's no doubt that Darius Slay and James Bradbury are good cornerbacks. But I said this last year, when you put guys like that in a defensive posture, then they become more passive, in my opinion. The more aggressive you allow them to be in certain situations, to get up at the line of scrimmage, to get their hands, take that one jam, and then define which way you want to let that guy, release. When you do that, you make them play a lot more aggressive, and they'll play through the ball a lot more aggressive. But when your mentality is bend but don't break, we don't want to give up the big one over the top, now you create this air and this mentality of being passive, and they play that way sometimes. And I think that's a big mistake. There's certain times, if you make the call and you're going to come, the guy with the green dot, he's got to tell those guys, hey, get up and press. Hey, get off. Play off and inside. Play off and outside. Good defensive backs, especially guys that play on the outside, they do a fantastic job of moving around, because the quarterbacks are always trying to get a read based upon where they're aligned. Now, the guy in the slot, he's a lot more difficult because he's off the ball,
right,
and you can't get up on him and get your hands on him. But if you're outside, you can determine the release of the wide receiver by your posture, by where you align. And a lot of times you're going to determine the adjustment to the route depending on where you align and where you are.
But Seth,
so when you get up and back and you move inside and out, and you're constantly moving around, that means the quarterback can't get a bead on what you're doing.
But Seth, I think the sample size of what we've seen through 4 games is too lopsided in terms of how they're playing their coverages. We sit here every game screaming about what in the world are you doing? I don't think they mix it up enough. I agree with you. They should mix it up, try to disguise it, especially when you're playing the quarterbacks like the Mac Jones and Sam Howells. They don't do that well enough. They're too predictable and allow these teams to stay in the games.
Listen, it's something that offensive coordinators are seeing. They're giving up over 300 yards per game, weeks 1, weeks 2, and today, week 4. They held Baker Mayfield to 170 and some change last week. But this week, they're right back to it, And they're one of the worst teams in pass defense in a passing league, and that's not good. You can't just rely on your guys, your front four, your pass rush all the time. Mm-hmm. They are going to have some days where they're just not going to get home, and you're going to have to bring pressure the way that they did. The way you mitigate that, because the pass rush and the coverage works hand in hand, you've got to get up and challenge guys at the line of scrimmage sometimes.
They got 5 sacks on him today, 3 of them by Nicholas Morrow, who also had like 11 tackles, and Cunningham had 13 tackles. So their linebackers, I think, were pretty aggressive. I don't know what's going on. And I thought Josh Joe played okay when he was out there.
But I'll tell you this, Mike. When you see linebackers play well, it's because the guys up front are playing well. When you got Big Jordan Davis and Fletcher Cox played out of his mind today. Okay, I don't know if everybody was watching. I don't even know if he got a sack. But if you watched him play today, he played out of his mind today.
Hassan Reddick got his first.
When you see those guys dominate up front, it makes it easier for the linebackers, because the linebackers can declare where they're supposed to fit more rapidly, because the defensive line, instead of playing on their side of the ball or being stalemated, they're playing on the other side, which makes guys stay on the double teams a lot longer than they want to. They can't get off second level. And Sean Desai's done a great job of running delayed blitzes with the linebackers, where, the linebacker's standing there. He doesn't look like he's coming. The ball is snapped. The back releases, and then here comes the linebacker out of nowhere. That's how Josh Morrow got his sacks today. But, hey, I always said, if when you look at good linebacker play, I promise you the front four is playing well, and these guys are understanding. They're getting more and more reps as the season goes on. And I would venture to say, once Mr. Nakobe Dean is healthy, that the Eagles have got some decisions to make. That's how well these two linebackers have played over the last 3 weeks.
And they're young as well, just like the secondary. But I want to move over to the offensive side of the ball. You look at Brian Johnson right now in his 4th game with Philadelphia as the OC. Jalen Hurts did have a much better second half, but is there room to worry right now? It's not a guarantee when Jalen Hurts runs with the ball anymore, and I feel like last year we were able to have that. Is he worried about injury? Is Johnson trying to lay that back so he doesn't get laid out? He's missing throws. He had a good to A.J. Brown, but there's other guys out there that you've got to utilize, and you've got to start that early in the game because you're not always going to be facing the Washington Commanders.
Interesting point. We were talking about this. Dee and I look at Jalen Hurts. He looks a step slower this year. Now, and Seth says, well, he's a little more cautious, and that makes him look a little slower. So what are we thinking here about the way he last year he was kind of looked like he was shot out of a cannon to get a lot of those first downs. And he looks like he's a little timid running the football.
I hope it's an illusion because this is the 3rd consecutive game we have talked about him not looking like the quick Jalen Hurts that we saw the previous season. Now, when he did break that one off today for like 23 yards, that looked like the old Jalen Hurts. But for the most part, he seems to be a lot more cautious when he's running the football this year. I don't know if that's by design or not. I don't know if that's been beaten to his head by the coaching staff. Protect your body at all times. Don't be reckless. But, Seth, you look at it from a different perspective than we do. You see things that we don't see. I mean, give me your opinion of what you're seeing from.
I think it's going to be situational. I think early in the game, what you're seeing is like the first sack he had today wasn't necessarily a legitimate sack.
Right.
He took off scrambling. Instead of him diving over the line head first, he slid. He slid right at the line of scrimmage, which means that he didn't gain a yard, which made it a sack. Now, half of his sacks this year are of that nature. We saw another one where he was running out of bounds, and instead of just throwing the ball away and taking the incompletion, he ran out of bounds for a 3-yard loss. To me, I mean, I almost lost it in that situation. Throw the ball away. It's a lot harder to convert 2nd and 13 than it is, 2nd and 10.
Yeah.
But I think that when he ripped off that long run, it was go time. It's time to win the game. So I think it's situational. You're going to see Jalen take off and run, and you're going to see his best running when the game is on the line. But when the game is not necessarily on the line and they can rely on the defense to get a stop and they can live to fight another down, you're going to see Jalen Hurts just slide and stay down because those 2 games that he missed last year was enough of an eye-opener, not only for him, but for the coaching staff to realize that they cannot win without him. They cannot win with the backup. They have to have him on the field, and he's got to be smart about protecting himself.
And staying with the run game as well, I mean, give the Commanders a little bit of credit. They were able to stop it, but what is it with Kenny Gainwell? Why do the Eagles put him in situations that are clearly operated for DeAndre Swift?
They love themselves some Kenny Gainwell, Kayla. They love Kenny Gainwell, and he's gonna play a lot, and they're gonna try to keep the carries lighter on DeAndre Swift. But let's take a break. John McMullen will come up with his analysis live from Lincoln Financial Field, and we've got our medical report with Dr. Bruce, who's in the house, and also coming up next, it is the 2-minute drill, rapid fire for the fellas. Right after this, live from the Battleship, New Jersey, in Camden, New Jersey, it is the Pilot Hockey Eagles postgame show. Back after this.
Hello.
And welcome
To the Diamond Debate
with Liam and Hillary.
in the heart of Montgomeryville, PA at Mark's Jewelers.
So what do you got for us today, Hillary?
Well, Liam, to kick off this football season, there's no deflate gate here. There's a 3-carat oval diamond. It's earth mined and it's completely natural. What do you think of that?
Now that's stunning. I mean, millions of years under the Earth's crust for something so small and beautiful.
You think she's small?
Well, I mean, do you have anything bigger?
Of course, I've got bigger.
I mean, bigger's always better.
That's what they say.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've got an earth mined natural 5-carat oval diamond. Was that big enough for you?
Wow.
5 carats?
That's a carat a finger. That's something right there. I can't imagine anybody saying no to one of these.
No, I guess not.
Do you have anything smaller, maybe?
Smaller is subtle and definitely beautiful still, and it's still fabulous. An earth mined oval diamond set in a solitaire setting. This comes in 14-carat yellow and white, 18-carat yellow, white, and platinum. Any way you want it. What do you think?
I mean, any way you want it. I can't imagine it any better, any different way.
That's right. So come down and see us here at Mark's Jewelers, where love grows here.
Every day of the week except Mondays and Sundays.
That's right. We're closed.